Sit back, relax and enjoy listening. The morning sun filtered through the curtains, casting a soft glow over the room. SV stirred, her eyes fluttering open, adjusting to the light. The warmth she felt against her was unusual, and her gaze drifted downward. She was curled up in RK's lap, his arm wrapped protectively around her, his face softened by sleep. The realization hit her like a wave. She bolted upright, fury blazing through her veins, her face contorting in anger as the memories of last night crashed over her. Her weakness, her tears, the way she had let him near her. RK awoke at her sudden movement, meeting her eyes with concern. "SV, are you okay?" he asked, his voice soft but laced with a careful caution, sensing her anger. "Get away from me," she snapped, her voice sharp as a blade. She backed up, her fists clenched, hating herself for how close she had let him get, hating him for seeing her like this. "How dare you touch me, RK? Don't you understand? I don't need you. I don't need anyone." RK rose slowly, his gaze steady as he tried to keep his voice calm. "SV, please calm down. You were in pain last night. I only wanted to help." "Help?" she interrupted, her voice dripping with venom. "You think I want your help? I didn't ask for it, and I certainly didn't need it." Her tone was icy, filled with a bitterness that only fueled her anger. "You were just in my way. All you ever do is get in my way." He inhaled deeply, keeping his tone as gentle as he could. "I know you didn't ask for help, but you needed someone. I'm not here to make things worse, SV. I just want you to be okay." SV scoffed, shaking her head. "Be okay? You think you're my savior, RK?" She took a step closer, glaring at him. "I've told you before, I don't need you. And I hate that you think you can fix things by just being there. Just stay out of my way." RK felt her words hit him like a slap. Every effort, every night he'd spent trying to make her see he cared, none of it mattered to her. She still saw him as the enemy, someone to blame for her pain. But he kept his voice steady. "Fine if that's how you feel. But at least sit down, eat something, take a moment. You barely ate last night." His voice softened. "You can hate me all you want, SV, but at least take care of yourself. I don't need your pity, and I don't need your concern." Her words cut deeper, the fury in her eyes making it clear she blamed him for more than just this moment. "You're nothing to me, RK. You were never anything to me." She took another step back, her face twisted in contempt. "Do you understand? Nothing." The sting of her words hung heavy in the air, each one a fresh wound. RK's patience started to slip as her accusations grew sharper. "Fine, if that's what you believe, but I know there's more to you than just this anger." He swallowed, fighting to keep the anger from his voice. "I saw the real you last night, SV. The part of you that feels, that needs, even if you don't want to admit it. Don't flatter yourself," she spat, her gaze cold and unyielding. "I'd rather die than let someone like you see anything about me. I let my guard down for one night. And you think you know me? You think you're something special to me?" He looked at her, the hurt finally breaking through his calm. "I never said I was special. I never thought I'd be anything to you. But you needed someone last night, and I happened to be there." She scoffed again, her anger intensifying. "You should have just left me alone. I don't need your heroics or your kindness. All you do is pretend to care when you're just like everyone else. So self-righteous, so sure of yourself." Her voice cracked slightly, but she swallowed it down, refusing to let him see anything but her anger. "You make me sick." At her words, RK clenched his fists, his own anger simmering under the surface. He had done everything to help her, to care for her when she was at her most vulnerable. And now, she threw it all back in his face. "Is that really how you see me?" he asked, his voice barely more than a whisper. "After everything, after all I've done, that's all I am to you?" "Yes," she said firmly, her tone leaving no room for doubt. "That's all you've ever been to me, a nuisance. Someone I can't stand. And last night was just a reminder of how much I hate you." He closed his eyes, the weight of her words settling heavily on his heart. Her anger was intense, blinding, and he knew she was really lashing out at herself, but it didn't make her words hurt any less. With a quiet resolve he spoke, his voice barely a murmur. "If that's how you feel, then fine. But know this, I never wanted to be in your way. All I wanted was to help you." She looked at him with disdain, her expression unwavering. "Then stay out of my way." I don't need you in my life. And I certainly don't need your help. He watched her turn and walk toward the door, every word she had thrown at him replaying in his mind, each one a fresh wound. She left without a second glance, slamming the door behind her. RK stood alone in the silence, her anger still echoing in his ears. Each memory of last night's tenderness, now a painful reminder of what he'd lost. His fists tightened, his own anger finally breaking through as he realized just how much he had endured for her, only to be met with her hatred. Every attempt he'd made to reach out to her, to be there, to help her heal, had been dismissed, crushed under the weight of her rage. Alone in the quiet, RK sat there, his heart heavy with the weight of her words. After everything he'd done, all the care and patience he'd shown, she'd left him feeling used, unwanted, and deeply wounded. How can someone be so ungrateful? He murmured, bitterness lacing his voice. He clenched his jaw, frustration simmering under the surface. After all I did, after everything, how could she say such things to me? He shook his head, pushing away the lingering pain.